Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Marley's Kitchen. So today's Sunday afternoon and I'm about to make the first attempt to make Ube Hopia. So I've never done it before, so this is the first time, so I don't know how it's going to come out. So we will actually need two sets of flours. So the first one, you will need 2 cups of flour and half a cup of lard, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and half cup of water. So this is what we need for the first dough. And in the second one, we will need 1 cup of flour, 1/4 of lard, and that's it for the second dough. And then for the filling, we're gonna have ube. So that's my favorite. Again, it's always ube. So we're gonna try this with ube filling. And then we will need some eggs to top the dough before we bake it. So we will see how it's gonna go. So let's try the first attempt. So for the first attempt, you just mix all the lard, the sugar, and then you mix it together. So you just keep mixing that until it gets all crumbly, or the lard to be kind of combined with the flour. And so you just keep mixing until it's all combined. Now my hand is clean, it's been sanitized how many times, so I don't have any gloves to use, so I make sure that my hands get sanitized, washed properly. I washed it 2 times. So you just keep mixing it. And then after that, you just add the water. So you add the water. And you just keep mixing it until it forms into a dough. So I'm not using my hands yet, I'm still using a spatula to kind of combine everything. And then after you have it all mixed in, you could go ahead and use your hand. So like I said, my hand is clean. So you just mix it until it forms into a dough. So you just keep mixing it. And sometimes it might come a little sticky, so all you have to do is add a little bit of flour until you get the right texture. So after it's formed, you can just form it into a ball. So now you just kind of knead it until you get the right texture. So this is the first set of dough that I'm making. Okay, after you're done with that, you just put it aside. So now it had formed into a little dough. So what you do is you just put that aside and then you mix the second one. So you just, again, the same thing, you just mix the lard with it. And the second dough, it should be like crumbly kind of dough, because then we're gonna be putting that on top of the first dough. So again, I'm gonna use my hand. So this one is gonna be a little crumbly. It's not going to be smooth because then we want the second layer to be crumbly. And like I said, I'm using my hands, but it's clean, it's been washed. So yeah, so as long as you make it into a little crumbly, make sure that everything is all combined. And this is how it should look like. The second layer that we're gonna put into the dough will look like, you can't see it, but it should be like that, like little crumbly. Okay, so then the next step, we're just gonna lay the dough. So I have a cutting board here. Now I kind of covered it with the non-stick paper, so that way it doesn't stick into the surface of whatever that you're using. So you just lay it flat, and then what you do is to get a rolling pin. I don't have a rolling pin. I couldn't find mine, so I don't know what I did with it. So I'm gonna use very unique Lee's wine bottle, empty bottle, and I wrapped it with saran wrap paper, so that way it's not directly using the bottle. And yes, I did wash the bottle how many times to use, so it should be okay. Hopefully it will work. So what you do is you just keep stretching the dough. Oh, it's working. Until you get to a flat surface. So you're just kind of stretching the dough, because we're going to top it with the second set of the mixture of the second dough. So you just kind of make it into a little square or a ball. Oh yeah, this bottle's working good. So we'll see how it's going to work out. Okay, so that's good, because we're going to be rolling it together. We're going to be rolling it anyway. So what's so good about this dough is that you could kind of form it or shape it the way you want it. And so just kind of spread it out. Okay, so I think that's good. And then what you do is you take the crumbs, the second layer of the dough. So this one is not, it's supposed to be crumbly, so it's not the same way as the top topping. Okay, so what you do is just go ahead and use all that, kind of spread it around. I know it's a little messy, but yeah. Just make sure that we spread it all over. So let's see. So like I said, this is the first time that I'm making it. Now you could also use, a lot of people use manga beans, but I like ube, because the manga beans you still have to prepare it and all that. So I'm just using whatever the ready to use ube. Okay, so now everything is set. Everything is covered with the top, with the second layer. Make sure that you get every edge. Okay, there you go. And then what you do is So you kind of fold it. And you just keep rolling. Now you have to roll it tight to get to make sure that it stays intact. With the first dough and the second one, we want to keep the second layer of the dough or the crumbs. So that's what it should look like. Yay! So you want to just push in the ends on both ends to keep everything intact. And then, now we have to refrigerate this for at least 30 minutes. Refrigerate it before we start baking it. So there you go. So we have the Hopia dough. So now I have to wrap it in a saran wrap. Oh, assistant, babe, please. Can you give me my saran wrap? I put it back. Oh, and this is my assistant, Mr. Lee.
Hello.
Saran wrap. Okay, so I just need to cut a little piece. Pull it, please. Okay, thank you. So we want to make sure that we wrap the dough, and then we could put it in the refrigerator. So you just want to wrap it and sealed in two ends. So there is my Hopia dough. So I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes before we could start filling in, with the filling and everything. So we should be back. Thank you. So hi guys. So now we are back into the second set of making the Hopia. So we had refrigerated the dough for 30 minutes, and so now we're ready to do the second batch of it. So what you want to do is unwrap it and then cut it into, or slice it into little slices, say about 1/2 inch. So like 1/2 inch in between. So we want to be precise with the measurement for each one, so that way they will come out to be all the same size. So we're cutting each section for about 1/2 inch. And so there we have it. So what we want to do is going to put those aside. And then take one, and then we'll put another of the plastic over it. And then again, we're back to our wine bottle pin. So we just kind of keep rolling it. And we wanted to put that plastic or the saran wrap on top of it, so that way it prevents it from sticking as we re-roll it. So just want to make it flat into like a round portion. To about that size. So we take it out, and then we put the filling in. So we put the ube filling, just place it in the middle. So we're using about 1 teaspoon for one. And then what you do is you just pull from the sides. And we just put it together to seal it. So you just make a little ball. Now sometimes it might fall apart or come unglued. I mean, like, you know, you get your dough into a little cracking or stuff, but you put it in some kind of mold. I don't have a cookie cutter, so I'm using this measuring cup. So you just press it down until you get a little flat of the form there. And so you should have the Ube Hopia shape. So here's the first one. You can see that it's sealed everywhere, so that's the first one. And you get the second one and you just continue. So the second one, just continue to do the same thing. And again, my working pin here, wine bottle. So you just keep kneading it and rolling it until you get that shape. So the same thing, you use the second one. And you just pull it in and seal it from every corner. Make sure that it's all connected. Shape it into a little ball. Put in the little mold, the measuring cup to kind of mold it in. I know I gotta get my other stuff to use in the future, so that way. Now sometimes you get the little cracking, like with the ube's kind of showing, but it should be okay. You know how sometimes the hopia kind of shows what the filling is inside, so it should be okay. So that's the second set, and you just do the same thing with the rest of them. I guess you don't have to make it too thin, so that way kind of, you know, the filling kind of stays in or doesn't come out of the wrapper. So I think that's the secret of it. Let's see if this one is not gonna show. Now I like mine with a lot of filling, so I put a little extra. Okay. Again, seal it and then put it into, shape it into a little ball. And then put it into a little mold. And press it until you get a little shape. See? So you just have to continue doing the same thing until you get all of them together. I don't know, some people says that it's just much easier to buy, you know, to buy it, but if you enjoy cooking, baking, you know, you don't mind doing this, you know, doing it yourself, because it's fun. If you like cooking and stuff like that, you don't mind taking the time or to make them because you just have your fun doing it. But I guess some people, they prefer to just buy it. So anyway, it's the same procedure for the rest of them. And some people, they use the saran wrap like this to just kind of keep it molded. Or they kind of twist it this way to get the form that they want. And then they just mold it again. So I guess a lot of people kind of do stuff differently, but yeah, you could just do it the way you want to, you know, whatever that you feel comfortable in. Everybody's got their own different style. Everybody's different, so yeah, so there's that other batch. So I'm going to continue doing this and we'll just see how it's going to come up after. Okay, thanks. Okay guys, so we're into the final stage here. Here is the Ube Hopia that's already shaped and everything, filled and shaped. So the next step is going to be brushing the egg on top of it. So what you want to do is, we're supposed to just kind of top it or brush it on top. So here we go. So what you do is you just take the brush and just kind of brush the top of it, the top of each one. So you just kind of coat it on top. And then what we do is we bake it for about 15 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees. So just brush the top. Okay, so everything is done, and this is what it looks like. So let's put it in for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so let's keep our fingers crossed to see how it's going to come out. So here is my finished product. Yeah, I actually had to bake it like 30 minutes because I think I made it a little bigger than usual. So, but yeah, so let's see how it tastes.